You know, we often think the best, most profound ideas have to come from the biggest names or the flashiest platforms. But every once in a while, you stumble across a little piece of genius in a place you'd never, ever expect. And today, we're going to break one of those down.
And when I say unexpected, I am not kidding. We're looking at a YouTube channel called Lorem Ipsum III. And get this, it has a grand total of 2 subscribers. That's it, 2.
So that's the big question, right? How in the world does a channel with an audience you could fit in a phone booth create an explainer so perfect, so clear, that it breaks down a concept that gives even computer science majors a headache? See, we're not just looking at the subject matter, we're looking at the art of the explanation itself.
The video is called Simply Recursion. So let's deconstruct the brilliant little techniques this creator uses to make a really complex idea feel, well, simple.
Okay, first up, the hook. This is where the magic begins, and it's pure genius. Instead of hitting you over the head with a dry, boring definition, it starts with things we've all seen before. It lets you spot the pattern for yourself before it ever gives you the name.
It all starts with something totally random, a vintage cocoa tin. It's familiar, it's visual, and it has this weird little quirk, a picture that contains a smaller version of itself. The creator isn't lecturing, they're just nudging you, going, hey, look at this funny thing. They're baiting your curiosity.
Then it pivots from a commercial product to pure geometry. A big triangle made of smaller triangles, which are made of even smaller ones. And the creator actually asks, are you starting to see the connection? They're making you a partner in the discovery. You feel like you're figuring it out yourself.
And to really nail it down, the video shows us the classic Russian nesting doll. I mean, it's the most physical, direct example you could ask for. By this point, the pattern is impossible to miss. We've seen 3 completely different things that all share this one powerful idea. They contain a smaller version of themselves.
And only after your brain has totally locked onto this pattern does the video finally give it a name, recursion. This is just such a smart way to teach. They define the word after you already have a gut feeling for what it is. Suddenly, the definition isn't intimidating at all. It's just a label for an idea you already understand.
Okay, so the examples got us hooked, but now we have to get into the logic, and that's where things can get a little messy. The next brilliant move is how the video takes this potentially infinite idea and just distills it into 2 super simple rules.
The creator totally anticipates the first question on your mind. Wait a minute, if a picture has a picture of itself, which has a picture of itself, wouldn't that just go on forever? It's a great question, because it's exactly the logical trap everyone falls into.
And here's the answer, laid out so perfectly. It's not a complicated formula, it's just 2 steps. You need a base case, that's just a fancy way of saying a finish line, a point where you stop. And you need a recursive step. That's the rule you keep repeating to get to the finish line. That's it. Simple, memorable, and honestly, kind of elegant.
To make this abstract idea stick, they use the perfect analogy, your family tree. Who's your ancestor? Well, the simple answer is your parent. That's it. That's the base case. Or it's your parent's ancestor. See, that's the recursive step. It's an idea that's both logically airtight and completely human. We just get it.
Now this is just masterful communication. The video contrasts the scary idea of a pointless infinite loop with a productive, useful process. The metaphors are amazing. The infinite loop is a snake eating its own tail. It just goes on forever and accomplishes nothing. But the useful process, that's like a sourdough starter. You use part of the old to start the new, but you have an end goal. You eventually bake the bread. That's the base case. It makes the stopping point feel not just logical, but satisfying.
So at this point, we get the concept, we get the rules. But the video's final act is to completely blow our minds by showing us just how huge this simple idea really is. It stretches across fields you would never think to connect.
This is the pivot point. The video makes a huge claim. This little pattern isn't just a fun curiosity. It's the fundamental building block for some of the most complex things in our world, from our computers to our own minds.
And then it backs it up with proof. It shows us recursion in computer code, in the fabric of mathematics like fractals, in the very way we structure our sentences, and yeah, even in classic art. This quick-fire list just hammers home how universal this idea is. It's literally everywhere.
And here's a really smart move. The video brings in a heavyweight, the linguist Noam Chomsky, to add some serious credibility. It points out that Chomsky argued this very idea is what makes human language so powerful and endlessly creative. So now, it's not just a nerd thing for coding, it's at the core of what makes us human.
And I love this part. The video dives back into the art example and gives us the formal term for it, mise en abîme. It's French for placed into an abyss. How cool is that? The video respects your intelligence by teaching you the cool, fancy name for that cocoa tin effect.
And that brings us to the final piece of this amazing explainer. Look, it's one thing to be clear, but to be truly memorable, you need a little personality. The video ends with a clever, human touch that just locks this idea into your brain for good.
The creator actually frames the ending as a joke, a recursive loop of humor. It's a great signal that we're moving from the really serious applications to something more fun, kind of like a reward for sticking with it.
And here it is, the punchline. It's an acronym, PHP. What does it stand for? PHP, Hypertext Preprocessor. The definition contains itself. It's the perfect, nerdy little joke. And by explaining it, the video makes us feel like we're in on the secret.
After the laugh, the video lands its final, powerful thought. This is the big takeaway. The idea that recursion is basically the universe's ultimate trick for building stunning complexity out of radical simplicity. You don't need a complicated blueprint. You just need a simple rule that you can repeat.
And that brings us full circle. That tiny 2-subscriber channel didn't just explain recursion, it used recursion. It started with a simple base case, the cocoa tin, and recursively built a bridge all the way to a universal truth. So maybe the real secret to a great explanation isn't having a huge platform. Maybe it's about finding the simplest, most elegant pattern that can unlock the most complex ideas in the world.